Caleb, do you know what they say about the human spirit?
What's that?
They say that the human spirit is indomitable.
Indomitable.
Yes. How does that make sense to you? Do you know what that means?
I don't think I know what that word is. What is it?
Indomitable. First, we'll go into the description real quick. The indomitable human spirit, basically what indomitable means, is impossible to subdue or defeat. Basically, that we are unstoppable with everything we do. Just the human fighting spirit just has this thing about it where we just won't be defeated. Do you agree?
Absolutely 110%.
Yeah. So, what are we going to be talking about today?
Today, you guessed it, we're talking about the indomitable human spirit. And before we get too deep into the episode, if you're checking us out for the first time on YouTube, smash that subscribe. Make sure to like, comment. We love comments. We respond to all comments. And if you're on any other platforms, make sure to hit follow. That way you can always keep up with our newest episodes.
Definitely. Yeah. No, this is a topic I've been wanting to talk about for a little bit because it's awesome. It is something I've seen on the internet recently. I think it's been a little bit of a meme, but it's like one of those wholesome memes where everyone brings it up and it's like, oh, kind of a smile on your face when you're reading it. So the indomitable human spirit, this is the fact that we as human beings have this spark in us that we refuse to be defeated when presented with a challenge or presented with something in our lives that we need to overcome. It basically just means that we will not accept defeat. We will not be subdued. There's nothing you can do to prevent me from reaching my goal. And I think that that is very true, literally within all human beings. It just depends on how important that dream is for you.
I think we should edit that statement to it is possible for all human beings. I don't think it's necessarily true for all human beings. I think there's a lot of people that actually give up pretty easily, whether that's like an outside factor or like maybe it's their environment, how they were raised, maybe it's just straight up laziness. But I don't think it's necessarily true for everyone, or else everyone would be doing exactly what they wanted to do from birth.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. We all have the possibility inside of us to go out and do the things that we wish we could accomplish and follow through with them and finish strong. And I think that's really important to remember while taking on your day to day tasks. And one quote I really enjoy. It's a very simple one when it comes to challenges and you thinking that life is too tough and all this stuff. One simple quote is, "If you are here, you are undefeated." It is as simple as that. If you are here listening to this, if you are here to breathe another day, every challenge that you have faced in your life, you have survived. So you are undefeated. You have never lost. You've never been subdued. You might have been defeated, but in the overall means of things, you have not lost. You are still here today. You are still victorious.
100%. I think, we talk about gratitude all the time. Every little thing to be thankful for is a win.
Mm-hmm.
It's a win. There's no losses overall. Um, I actually think I would reword that personally to like, you lose a lot, you fail, but you're not defeated, because
Mm-hmm.
defeated is when you're like crushed, you give up, like that's it, that's the end of the story. So I think that you definitely lose a lot.
A lot of failure, a lot
um,
of loss in life. Yes, definitely. Yeah.
but I really don't think you're ever fully defeated if you are here, just like the quote.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. If you are here, you are undefeated. So keep that in mind when going towards your next challenge. So
definitely.
I see there's a quote up there, Caleb. Do you want to read that one out?
Yeah, absolutely. So the quote is, "There is something in the human spirit that will survive and prevail. There is a tiny and brilliant light burning in the heart of man that will not go out, no matter how dark the world becomes." And I don't think you have to take this on some macro level, macro scale.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can look at this in your day to day life
Yeah.
when things are kind of closing in on you and you still keep pushing towards your goals, towards things that you want, towards whatever it is, no matter how bad it gets, that's the darkness of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And you are keeping that light, even if it's just a little, even if it's like you wake up after the worst week of your life and you clock in, you show up, you continue your practice,
Yeah.
even if you're not at peak performance, having that small fire, there's ways to kind of add fuel back to it.
Yeah. It's just remembering to keep walking, keep putting one foot right in front of the other foot. No matter what you're doing, keep walking forward, because if you're not, then you're degressing. And it's okay to take breaks. We always say that. It's okay to take breaks. It's okay to stop and breathe. But just remember that we all have a purpose in this life, and we all have something we want to fill. We have big shoes to fill in our lives. And make sure that you know what those are, or that you're working towards at least figuring it out. So at the end of the day, you know where you're heading.
Absolutely. And that's kind of this is like a good sequel to dream crafting because now
Yeah.
that you have the dream and you've been on your journey for a little bit, you're going to face obstacles almost immediately. Not always. Sometimes it's like smooth sailing and you're like, "Oh, this is easy." And then wham.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you find out the hard way that it's not that easy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but this is like a really good one. I know I'll probably tune in and listen back on it, when I'm having like a really rough week,
Yeah.
because things get stressful. There's definitely highs and lows, and when you're at a high, it's like everything's so great you can barely believe it, and then eventually you will find a low, whether it's yourself, whether you accidentally bring yourself down, or whether you've run into some sort of adversity that you can't control. There's going to be a downwind, and it's kind of up to you on keeping that fire.
Yeah. Has there ever been a point in your life, or multiple points in your life, where you have just felt unstoppable, where you have felt that indomitable human spirit inside you?
100%.
Do you want to share? Do you want to share the experience?
Yeah, so funny enough, I'm not even flying yet. Okay, so I'm in aviation school for anyone that's new. Just got in the program after a year of waiting, and we just upgraded from our Redbird simulator, which is basically two computer screens and the very minimum controls. And we just upgraded to our Fresca, which is like literally a cockpit of a plane. And it's like way cooler. It's got every single control. And just sitting there and doing like a successful takeoff, it made me think of like all the times last year where I questioned if I wanted to do it, all the times where I almost gave up. I was like this close to
Mm-hmm.
giving up and just calling it quits. And so even though I'm not even like flying yet, just being in the air and doing everything like perfectly just from studying really hard, it's like when you have little victories like that, it doesn't have to be this huge moment to feel invincible.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's just like these tiny little things that like kind of show how far you've come.
Yeah. Now,
What about you?
yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
So no, you're good. Um, I'd probably say two biggest recently that I can remember. Within the last year and a half, 2 years. Getting my real estate license was a big one for me because that was something I was working towards for probably like 7 months. And I kept failing the exam, kept failing the exam, and literally felt like I was never going to do it, wasn't good enough, yada yada. And then when I finally got in there, I took the exam. It tells you the results right at the end, and it said passed. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, Will Smith, Pursuit of Happiness, when he gets told he gets the job and he like walks out and he's clapping. That's exactly how I felt. And I was like, no one can ever tell me otherwise. Like, you can't stop me. I have that flame inside of me that's never going to die. That was one of them. And then a little after you and I met, when I was a little overweight at the time and I broke under 200 pounds. And I remember when I took a picture of the scale, it was 199.8. And I was like, oh my gosh, I did it. Let's go. And so it's just like those kind of little victories you have throughout your life that you need to remind yourself you did it. You've been through it. You survived. You have that flame inside of you. Don't let others make you feel like you don't. Don't make yourself feel like you don't. You have that inside of you. Now reach in, pull it out, throw it out in the world so everyone can see it, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Now, now where was I? Okay, so yeah, and then I was going to ask, now the quote, nothing fails like success. Do you, so in my opinion, that quote is very true. It has a lot of meaning behind it, and it has more so to do with you being comfortable when you reach a certain point. So say after I lost all that weight and got under 200 pounds, I was like, I succeeded. I'm good now. That's all I needed to prove. And then I started eating junk food again, quit working out, yada, yada. And so then I reached back up into those weights. Do you see that happening often? Maybe not in your life, but just around you?
Oh, it happens in my life all the time.
Mm-hmm.
When I hit a goal that I've been working at for so long, even though I still have that little fire in me, there's also that part of me, whether it's, we reference it as the voice of ordinary,
Mm-hmm.
is like, okay, look, you did it. You're good now. we're level off.
Yeah.
But you and I both know, and probably a lot of our listeners, that it's the moment you stop moving forward, you move backwards.
Yeah.
And so I've had many times in my life where I hit this ginormous goal and I instantly pushed it to the side. I was like, well, that's good. Let's focus on some other things. And it's kind of like someone once told me that, in life, everything that's happening, whether it's relationships and people or it's things going on, it's kind of like you're being tugged by a rope on all
Mm-hmm.
sides, and you can't just focus on one thing, pulling it down to release the tension,
Yeah.
or like on your body. It's more like you have to constantly just kind of keep it centered. The
Mm-hmm.
goal is to keep it centered, and there are times where it'll pull you away, one or the other.
Yeah.
But if you just focus on trying to keep them all at an equal balance, rather than just going, okay, I'm only going to do this side, and once that's good, I'm just going to let it go back. It's
Mm-hmm.
like you're constantly being tugged, and you constantly have to work new angles, new ways. You have to learn more to be able to maintain that balance. But that's what growth is. That's where you
Mm-hmm.
become that next level person. That's where you start constantly looking for the challenge, because complacency is our biggest enemy once you've started your path. Once
Definitely.
you're on that journey, there's going to be so many spots where you're like, you're not hungry anymore. When
Yeah.
you put food in front of you, you can only eat so much, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just got to keep finding ways to stay hungry.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, everything that we face in life, we do have to face with a new angle because if it worked with the previous angle, it probably wouldn't be an issue in your life, right? You could just solve it just like that. But the thing is, like, we all face different challenges every so often in our lives. So why is this new challenge, the one you're currently in, why is this one any different? Why is this the one that makes you want to throw in the towel, right? That this challenge isn't the end. This challenge isn't where you lose. Remember, you're undefeated if you're here right now. So keep that track record. So just keep that up, keep being undefeated, and keep tackling these challenges one by one.
And I think one of the biggest it's like a 3-word quote or 4-word quote. I'll know when I say it how many words it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I read it in a book called No Easy Day Out, which is like a SEAL who was on the SEAL Team 6. And some of the words he said was, you have to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable. So I guess that's like 5 words. Be
Mm-hmm.
comfortable being uncomfortable. Okay, I can't count. It's 4 words.
Yeah.
Um, but that seriously has changed my life because, it takes that uncomfortable feeling.
Mm-hmm.
You feel you're scared, or maybe you're in pain, or
Mm-hmm.
any of those like negative feelings, and they're not something you're used to. And so it makes you very uncomfortable and you
Mm-hmm.
almost don't like it. But if you can kind of twist your mindset into finding this sort of comfortability, whether it's knowing that the results are coming or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
however you can find comfortability being uncomfortable, like almost make it an addicting feeling where it's
Yeah.
like you have to find a way to kind of enjoy it, and you'll
Yeah.
just keep chasing it. And then it's pretty hard to get complacent when you enjoy being uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely that feeling of getting your back up against the wall, right? So, um, now moving into a little short story that you actually brought up. If you kind of wanted to read that out loud, I think it has a lot of power in it. So I want to hear that one real quick.
Absolutely. Okay, so here we go. There was an old mule, and one day he accidentally fell into the farmer's well. So the farmer decided the mule wasn't really worth the money or efforts to save. What a horrible person. Um, so he decided to haul dirt to bury the old mule in the well. The farmer started to shovel dirt into the well, and the old mule was, of course, terrified in the beginning. I mean, who wouldn't be? You're literally getting buried alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But soon one hopeful idea came to his mind. Every time when a shovel of dirt landed on his back, he would shake it off and step up. He repeated these words to himself again and again: shake it off and step up. That way, he could use the panic energy and encourage himself to keep stepping up. And
Mm-hmm.
after some time, the mule had stepped over the well's wall. Although he was exhausted, he was the winner. He saved his own life. He decided to face his adversity positively and to never give up, and thus he won. What seemed to bury him actually saved him, owing to his confidence and restless efforts. I think I think that is The biggest thing is the last few words I just said, but I do
Mm-hmm.
want to jump in before we like start talking about it and dissecting it.
Mm-hmm.
One tiny thing I realized reading this story for the third time is that the importance of he repeated these words to himself
Mm-hmm.
again and again, shake it off and step up.
Yeah.
When you can face a challenge and get into the repetition of shake it off and step up, you are literally invincible.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's daily affirmations kind of too. So
Yeah.
it's cool.
Yeah, no, that's that courage. That's that deep stuff. That's buried in your heart when you can feel that burn and you can feel that passion where you are able to shake it off and step up despite the fear, despite the doubt that you have in your mind, despite all of those negative thoughts. When you can just shake it off and step up, you are unstoppable.
100%. I
Yeah.
love that story. I didn't even realize how much I liked it until this
Yeah.
third time. I was like
So,
in the story.
yeah, no, it's really cool. What seemed to bury him ended up saving him. And I think that's something super important that we need to understand with challenges in life is that a lot of the things that we have thrown at us in life are meant to shape us and meant to make us stronger for the next challenge. Like if I didn't struggle with what I did 6 months ago, I wouldn't be able to deal with what I'm dealing with now. And I don't understand that because I'm in the situation. But when I get that third party perspective and I'm able to see that, it's so much more important to understand.
Well, and building off of the whole different angle thing, someone
Mm-hmm.
throws some numbers at you and you're just kind of like, huh, what is this? You've been doing it one way your whole life.
Yeah.
Well, now you have to go and learn a new equation to be able to kind of fit the numbers in,
Mm-hmm.
but it ends up working out if you just keep working at it, keep trying new things. So sometimes all it takes is a slight perspective change. He turned the one thing that was going to kill him into a savior.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's obviously an extreme example,
Mm-hmm.
but
But it's
take
a
it from
great
the mule.
example. Yeah. Yeah. Better the mule has to learn it than you, right? So now that Caleb had his short story, I actually got a poem and I want to read it. And I'm hoping that you guys can kind of gather something from it. I really like it. It's called Back Up Against the Wall. It's by Gary Williams. And it kind of just explains that indomitable human spirit that we all have inside of us. So here we go. So, what will you do once your back's against the wall? There's nothing to do but brawl. At some point in life, you have to fall. To God, at some point, you have to call. He will help you get on your feet. Life wouldn't be life without my back against the wall. Stick your chest out and stand tall. We all go through trials and tribulations. Keep working hard and be patient. There's no point in wasting time. Fight with your back against the wall and don't lose your grind. Your fight will pay off. Victory is close, but you can't take days off. Life goes on, so you can't stall. Be prepared to fight when your back is against the wall. So that is just that quick reminder that yes, challenges are coming. They are going to be here. They are knocking on your door. They are waiting for you to come outside and greet them. Challenges are going to be here. But you have to be prepared to fight when your back is against the wall. Don't take the days off. You can't stall, right? So you just have to be ready to start throwing hands as soon as they come.
And to God, at some point, you have to call. Personally, I'm religious, so this resonates with me because I really don't think you can do it without God, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, for someone who's not religious, a more general idea is like you're going to have to call on someone, whether it's your
Yeah,
coach, whether it's, your business mentor, whether it's just the person down the road that's been helping you with, homework or
right.
getting a job or whatever it is, you have to call at some point on someone else and you will get help getting back on your feet. But the whole idea here is just, I mean, it's insane. Every one of these lines is, oh, they just go
Mm-hmm.
so hard.
Yeah,
They really do.
just resonates so well with just challenge in life.
And victory is close, but you can't take days off.
Mm-hmm.
Victory is always close. In my opinion, the way I like to view it is victory is unattainable. It is
Mm-hmm.
impossible to fully achieve victory because victory is perfection.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know that it is impossible to be perfect, but that's why it's so important to destroy complacency. This kind of relates back to what we were talking about earlier. So kind of put this idea in your head that winning is possible. Winning is something you will do if you don't give up. But
Mm-hmm.
victory is always in the distance. You're always setting your heading, as they would say in
Yeah,
aviation, to somewhere new. Always.
interesting. Yeah, that's a cool perspective. So I
Thanks.
think I think the importance of that is to take every battle, knowing that you have survived the previous one. Keep your chin up and make shit happen. Simple as that. No one else is gonna do it for you. Put your best foot forward and go for it.
Yep.
So,
Stop hiding behind any excuses. Stop worrying about any failures that are to come because they will. They
hmm
will arrive. It is up to you on getting through it.
yeah. And just keep in mind, as we've been saying this whole episode, the human spirit is indomitable, people. We will refuse to be subdued. We refuse to be defeated, and we will always achieve what we want most.
And if you ever are facing something and you feel like, it's time to call on someone, we have our DMs on Instagram. We help as many people as we can. That reminds me, we actually have to set up a call with someone. I know it's kind of a random side note there, but other than that, like we love helping people. We love chatting with them, and we're happy to motivate you, listen to you. We're not experts, but we're good soundboards.
Yeah, great. Yeah, we're all ears, right? We're like a field of corn. So, and we have some advice, which corn doesn't have. But all right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning into to this week's episode. I hope you guys had a good Labor Day. And that is why we're uploading on Tuesday, because we take vacations. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.